Good morning and welcome to Presence of Light with Charlie Riverman Bergeron. It's Friday and it's the last Friday in September. And it's a joy to be with you as always, knowing that we are all connected around the world by this wonderful technology. And yet, this wonderful technology also has its drawbacks in our conscious awareness. We, sometimes forget that as much as this makes life simple, it also takes away some of our power and some of our presence. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit this morning. So good morning, Janice. I see people arriving. I'll give you a few minutes to arrive and know that as each of you come in, you're welcomed by my open heart and my constant love for each of you, which seems sometimes hard to imagine that somebody could really say that and actually mean it. This is part of what we're learning to do, or shall I say, relearning to do. And it's not easy. It's not easy to live that path. It's not easy to live with an open heart that's fully accepting of all the behaviors that, are happening simultaneously around the world. So I live here in the northeast of the United States, in York, Maine, which is the watershed. I live in the watershed of the Mount Agamenticus Mount, which is part of a line of ancient volcanoes that cut across the land when the earth was forming and the oceans were forming and the land was separating. And so all of this ancient energy really has been part of our evolution even before we as humans entered into the scene here. And all of that refers to really the topic of today, a deeper understanding. How do we tap into a deeper understanding of what's happening right now in this moment? Good morning, Renee. Carrie, good morning. Aloha. Bless you. Melissa, got my Kuan Yin oracle cards. Oh, bless you. I don't have mine with me today, but yeah, I'm so glad. They are such a joy. I'm not advertising for Alana Fairchild, believe me, but when that deck hit my hands, I knew that this was going to be a deeper relationship with the spirit self. And we'll talk about that today, about the spirit and who we are as spirit. Good morning from Connecticut, Gracie Grace. Welcome all. So I wrote a few show notes, and some of this is going to come from my heart and my higher self. And it's another wonderful deck of cards, if you will. Again, I'm not advertising, but it's called the Animal Spirit Guidebook, and I found this in a wellness center, and when I would ever go in, I would pick a card, and it always seemed to be right on. Today, I didn't pick a card; the card picked me. What was interesting as I awakened and looked out my window, I could hear the birds chattering and making a lot of squawking noises that I knew was sort of a danger signal to it, beware. Now, the birds have an amazing communication system, and this is around the bird feeders. So I looked out the window, and as I went to look out the window, the cat was in the window watching all of this. So it attracted the cat's attention as well. And I saw a hawk fly from one tree to another. It was just a short distance, so I knew the hawk was there surveying the situation and saying, hey, what can I find for breakfast this morning? And as I watched, I couldn't see where the hawk flew, but I see two small squirrels running across the trees and jumping and leaping and heading out to an oak tree, a young oak tree. And all of a sudden I see the hawk fly from the end of the branches of the oak tree. And I said, now there's a reversal. Instead of the hawk chasing the squirrels are chasing the hawk. And in that moment, I realized how amazing life is when we follow the spirit of who we are and the spirit that speaks to us constantly, but we've been tuned out and we don't hear it anymore. So the deeper understanding for me today in all of that was, the hawk's message, which says this: watchful, all-seeing messenger of divinity. The sharp eyes of the hawk watch over our every move. The keen-eyed bird has the ability to see every little detail as well as the bigger picture. When this card appears, fate has its eyes on you, and the winds are shifting. It is said that the hawk carries news upon its wings and is sent from divinity itself to deliver it. The message should not be taken lightly, though it may seem small or insignificant. It will eventually redirect your course. And so what a powerful message that is. This writer goes on to say, when in balance, the hawk says, it sees clearly and intuitive. When out of balance, it sees too much and becomes suspicious. To bring into balance, here we are in this astrological moment. Balance is the word, and it's a perspective shift. And how do we change and shift our perspective to one that aligns with the spirit, aligns with the divine, aligns with who we truly are? And as we, close the month of September, this is important because there is so much happening, particularly here in the United States, where we have this election coming up, and has been this broadcasting of negative statements on all sides. There is no real praise here of anyone. And it's become a battle of who can badmouth each other the best. Wow. And that's all I can say is, wow. How did we, as this amazing species of being in the universe, come to this point of degradation? And I'm going to say that. I feel humanity is degrading itself. And each of us have a role to bring ourselves out of this and be like the hawk, the messenger to others, and say, no, we have to shift and change. We have to listen to the warnings that were being shown and to rise above all of this insanity that is playing out around us and making us believe it's about us. And it isn't about us at all. It's all about power and control and separation. I know you're all feeling this in your own ways. And, to top it off, we have the virus. So, that's how the energies are being brought forth. They're being brought forth through the coronavirus and the political insanity. And it's not a question of who's right or who's wrong, but it's who are we? I'll add myself to this field. Who are we going to listen to and follow in these times of misinformation? All of us as humans are now being fed information through machines. This machine right here in front of me is feeding me information. That's not the same as you and I talking person to person. When we're person to person, our energies connect. Our fields of resonance harmonize or play with each other to feel into each other, to understand. This machine does not give you that feeling. It does not give you that understanding. So it's like just listening to a drone voice that has no peaks, no lows, no slow moments, no fast movements, no force that shows excitement, no voice that can actually express sadness or concern. And you could see in the inflection of my words, and you can hear in the inflection of my words and the movement of my hands, this is what we get personally. This is what, when we meet one-on-one, or even in a group, in an audience, or in a small group gathering, this is the resonance that we get. And that resonance is part of our spirit being. So these machines are tools. And right now they're being utilized as tools in order to manipulate and in order to make people feel either uneasy or excited. And they've learned how to use these machines to play with our emotional system. An emotion, as I always explain it, is energy in motion. When we feel emotions, that's the energy moving. And that energy moving, depending on how it's moving and what preceded the cause of its movement, determines how we feel. Then what's stored in our memory, whether it be our brain memory or our physical memory, memory stored in our marrow of our bones, it's in our blood, it's through our whole system. The water, all of the water in our body holds memory. Even though it's flowing through us, it's containing, this is a memory system, this whole body. I don't even know why I'm getting on this, but this is what's coming through, is this whole system that we live in. And when I say we live in, who is that we? That we is spirit. That we is what we call spirit. Spirit is not something you can buy. It's not something you can sell. It's not something you can put clothes on. It's not something you can give away and not still be a part of. It is always a process of exhibiting who and what we truly are. And it's our original communication system. I'm going to say that again. It's our original communication system. So this is what the hawk is sharing with me now as I vision that hawk in that tree, on that communication system where everything in the field knew that hawk was there. And some took action to protect the whole by moving it out of the field of resonance of all of the bird tribes and animal tribes that were there feeding. What is humanity doing now? Humanity is still at the bird feeder, but they're fighting and struggling and trying to take power and control over each other. They've lost the concept of true spirit, which is wholeness. But there's no separation in spirit. There's only separation in formation. Spirit doesn't take form. Spirit dwells within form. So therefore, spirit cannot be separated from source. The next card the card I drew actually today was connection. Look at that. Look at that starburst. They call it a stellar swarm of, let's say, one of the densest globular, I don't know how to pronounce that word, star clusters in the Milky Way. Billions of stars, perhaps. The message of the card, these are Sacred Space meditation cards by Eleanor Wandel, and as you can see, they're very big. They're hard to handle, but they're a wonderful joy for me. They were a gift. Thank you, Liz, in Australia, for this gift. The words of the title under connection is, in quote, I am connected to all life. In everyone I meet and see myself. In everyone, I'm going to say that again. In everyone I meet, I see myself. We've heard this before. We've heard it phrased differently. We've felt it differently. Personally, at this point, I see more clearly myself, and I see less fearfully, because for most of my life, I didn't want to see those parts of myself that I didn't like in others. And yet now I'm learning to face that. I'm learning to face what I see in others, and when it bothers me, I can reflect and go seeking it within myself. And in that seeking, it's not comfortable and it's not pleasant. But I know now it's necessary for me to come back into wellness, to come back into wholeness, to prepare myself to join with each of you who are on the same path. And then we all be able to sit in a circle and know who each of us are, because we know ourselves. We're no longer abstract. We're no longer overpowering. We're no longer depressing. We are equal. We all have moments of each, and we're all working together to realize, as a group, as a whole, whether it be 3 people or 3 million people sitting together, that we're all experiencing the same things, just in different forms, and it's come to us in different ways. Right now, the shift and change of the energies of the universe is allowing for us to release those. And when I say release them, I mean forever. I think I mentioned in another talk, it's like the wake of a boat. Just it disappears in the wake of the boat. It churns and it does all of this distortion, and then all of a sudden the ocean comes and calms it all over, and it's gone. It didn't go into the ocean to exist. It's gone. This past equinox, many of us worked on a place of land of healing and sending energy and love to the trauma of the history of the center of the United States, where the Trail of Tears, where people were forced out of their homes, original people who lived here, not peacefully, but they lived here together, were totally pushed across the country. And the energy after that, there was a civil war where the people who pushed everybody away fought amongst themselves. East to west, north and south, 4 directions. How it tore apart the energy of North America, and still exists. And it's still tearing apart the energy of North America. And in your own countries, wherever you are around the world, you can look at your history and see that same pattern. And the earth holds that trauma. And it's our responsibility now to come back into our hearts and remember who we are, and not take for granted what this machine is telling us anymore, and come back into our reality, the sovereignty of who we are, the connection to spirit, and really take a deeper look at how we can influence that for the future generations. I'm over 70 years old, so I only have a few more years left and considered in human lifetimes, unless by some grace we are granted to live to be 200 years old or something, which I'll accept, because I have a lot of work to do on myself, and I have a lot of work to do with you, and I have a lot of work to do for Mother Earth, and bringing us all together. This is why I talk. This is what comes through from having died and returned into this body. I am not the same person that I was 30 years ago. This month will be my 29th rebirth day. And it's an honor to be present as many times as my personal human self and human mind is confused and depressed and angry and all of those emotions we feel. My heart is remaining open. It's remaining open to everything, whether it comes in different colors, whether it comes in different vibrations, whether it comes at me from sources that are malevolent or beneficent. I refuse to close my heart down. It'll close. It's like your eyes, your iris will open and close according to the light. So too, allow our hearts to be the eye that we see through life through. I don't mean to lecture, and I get carried away, and I really just have to soften up sometimes and laugh and realize that we're all going through this, and that's my message to you, is really to just let you know you're not alone in this, that these thoughts that come up and you question your sanity, etc., and all of that. You're not alone. We're all going through this together. And it's not to be taken lightly, that statement. I am connected to all life and everyone I meet and see myself. Because in truth, we really do. And most of the time we avoid it or deny it because it does hurt. We don't like to see who we are or what we've done when it's been negative. But we're all capable, and we all do it. And we do it mostly because we've lost our connection to divine spirit. However you want to look at divine spirit is perfect, as long as divine spirit is leading your life in light and love and peace. Those are the three teachings of my death: peace, light, and love. And that's what we are here to do, is to express that beingness of peace, light, and love. So again, the choices we make are very significant. I think I put that in the side note of the show post. The choices we make are significant right now, and who or what we choose to guide us will determine the future for our children. So let's bring it to the children. A few minutes left here. And if we look at the children, we can see how the programming is really got hold of them. They're in front of these machines. And now we have the school system shut down, and if they're not in school, they're on computers. We are teaching and training them to believe that this square box in front of them is the truth. That's what they're thinking, because they don't have anything else outside of that box to tell them different. This is where you and I come into place. How do we get back in touch with children and teach them love, teach them kindness, teach them compassion? This machine isn't going to teach it. We have to come back from this programming for the children. For if we don't, there will be a price that humanity will pay in suffering. So our spirit is always contained in the physical body. And yes, Margaret, we are all in this together. And yes, it's all about, Randall, it's all about positive energy and staying calm. And I'm looking at your words in the sidelines, and you understand all of this. I'm just bringing it forward to your consciousness. We are a collective consciousness. We are all spirits in a human body. We are also individual expressions of that collective consciousness. Yet, in the spiritual self, we are all one expression. We are humanity. Like the trees. Think of the trees. They function better in a community as a forest. They also suffer greater as a community in a forest. But in that forest, they have interaction and living presence. Not that the single tree doesn't, but there it is in the middle of the field, living and existing, but could have so much more. I don't want you to deny the so much more in yourself anymore. And I don't want you to fall prey to the machines that are teaching us and our children that separation is a solution. It's not a solution. It's a cause. It's a cause for suffering. And it's time we broke out of that suffering. May work for a virus. I'm not sure it's working so well. But the virus will come and go. The damage of the separation will linger for longer. So let's listen more carefully to what is not spreading fear and anger. That which dwells in nature as a natural part of our existence. Yes, there's life and death. Yes, there's suffering. There is also a word we forget to use and seek: joy. Joy. Where is the joy in you? Where has it gone? How do you bring it through? Because not only we need this, our environment needs this. Because joy is a part of our environment. The Merriam-Webster dictionary explains environment quite beautifully. First, the environment is the circumstances, objects, or conditions by which one is surrounded. Everything. No exceptions. 2A says, the complex of physical, chemical, and biotic factors such as climate, soil, and living things that act upon an organism or an ecological community and ultimately determine its form and survival. Form and survival. We understand that about our ecological environment, but it's also determining your physical and emotional environment survival as well. And number 4 was the opposite, a computer interface from which various tasks can be formed. So the question I leave you with is, do you want to be the computer interface, or do you want to be the environment, the complex environment of physical, chemical, and biotic factors? I ask each of you to understand more deeply how we can connect with all of life by coming through the heart and spirit rather than the mind. Spirit will always direct us to a new journey, a new path of enlightenment, both within us and around us. And I will close with this little saying from the Course in Miracles. What is not love is always fear and nothing else. So leave the fear behind. Let the fear go into the wake of the boat as we move these beautiful vessels that we are forward full speed, and know that the horizon before us looks barren and it may look empty, but we will land somewhere. And where we land, we will begin new life again. So Victoria, bless you, mother of 3. I feel it my obligation to connect my children to Mother Earth and Creator within. The importance of teaching our little ones to see and feel with their hearts, to respect life and all the beauty of life. Victoria, you've summed up everything I spoke about for whatever time I've spoken. This is the message of today. Let's not deny ourselves the joy of who we are, and let us join hearts together as they were once long ago, before machines and words corroded our hearts and our minds. I want you all to have a blessed week as we move into October, and know that wherever you are around the world, I love you. I love you. I thank you. I respect you. I am you. You are me. Together, we are unity. And I say that from within my spirit self. Y'all have a wonderful week. See you next Friday or somewhere else on Facebook or social media somewhere. And know that you're not alone. And together we are far greater as the sum of the collective, rather than separated as the individual. And yet, each one of us honor the individual sovereign self within that collective by showing up. Bless you. Have a great week, and see you next Friday. Oh, bless you all. Thank you. And there it is, end live. I do this show every week. I've done it. This is, I think, my 160th talk for humanity healing. And I still can't figure out how to end this video. Maybe the truth is, I don't want to. Love you. Bye-bye.